Welcome to 10,000 Things. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins with two sisters writing and publishing, and I'm with my sister.
Catherine Greenspan.
And tonight we are having so much fun talking about writing. We want to share with you the process of our short story contests because they're very popular and we've actually expanded the scope of our contests. And if you just watched Writer Talks, I interviewed Joanne Demary Kennedy. Her story appears in our second annual anthology of international writers, and Joanne's short story is the most popular read according to the analytics on our website. So, we want to talk about the process of entering our contests, winning our contests, and being published in our anthologies. I just finished judging a new round of entries for one of our contests, and it's so awesome to read all these talented writers, and every story is so different. It's just delightful. So thank you, all of you writers out there who've submitted your stories, because it's just a wonderful escape to just immerse in your creativity and your visions and your imagery. It's just awesome. So let's start, Catherine, by you explaining why you had this idea for our short story contests.
Great. Excited to be here.
We both had like a laughing fit before this started. So our father used to call it the giddies. He said, "You girls have the giddies." And we'd be like up north camping and it would be like bedtime, but we didn't want to go to sleep. And you could hear whippoorwill, whippoorwill, the birds out there in the dark. And Catherine and I would just be laughing so hard until we fell asleep. Like, it makes our stomachs. So we just had a fit like that, laughing about various things. So we also, wait, one more thing. When we were University of Michigan English majors, we would have English papers due the next day, and we would literally spend the night at the computer center because it was before everybody had their own computer in their room or apartment. And so we would spend the night in the computer center drinking ridiculous amounts of coffee, eating chocolate and cookies and stuff, sugar high to keep us going.
Popcorn.
And we would get into these, and cheese popcorn.
No, we would get popcorn from
We
the
would get into these.
Stop and Shop by
Oh,
East
right.
Quad.
Right. And then we'd have these laughing fits in the middle of the night because we were delirious and we'd had too much coffee and sugar. It was so fun. And then we got A's on our papers. So, right, pal?
I didn't always get A's.
Oh,
In fact, I would get a paperback and think, wow, if only I had not started that paper at 10 o'clock the night before it was due, I probably could have done really well or better. Like, that was not the direct path to an A for me, staying up all night. No, but we're not in college anymore. We run Two
right.
Sisters Writing and Publishing, and every month since the middle of 2016, the year we were founded, I'm watching Max in the background, making sure that he's not going to knock over that plant. We've had short story contests, and the way they've worked is at the beginning we had like a winner and a runner up, and then we realized because we were getting so many good stories, we just were picking one or two or three winners, and then over time what we realized is that the winners, we would publish them on our website and then also in our annual anthology. So our third anthology from 2019 is almost wrapped up. And then our 2020 short story contest, all of them have been judged, except Elizabeth was judging the Erotica contest just recently, and she's got her contenders in line. And Elizabeth, do you want to talk about the judging process?
Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of entries, and every time I've done the judging process, I take a notebook, like old school pen and paper, and even though the submissions are all digital,
Oh, wait,
electronic.
can I add something about submittable, the way that we accept submissions?
Yes.
So in the old days, submissions were printed out, mailed in with a self-addressed stamped envelope so that when you got your rejection letter, the person or magazine or company rejecting you didn't have to pay for postage, you prepaid. And now, since the beginning of our contest, we've used submittable.com, which is an amazing platform. And the reason we use submittable is because it makes making submissions, submitting on the submitter side and on the receiver side, so much easier. So we just request a PDF and we tell people not to put their names on them. And sometimes well, they come through and then each one is categorized based on the link that they use to submit it. So they're all grouped for us. So we choose the winners based on the group. And in November and December, we had an open and erotica contest. And that was what Elizabeth was referring to. So they're all online and we communicate directly with the submitter that way. But Elizabeth was just about to go into her old school method for choosing a winner.
Yeah, I really love pen and paper. So I take a notebook and I take a pen and I look on Submittable where all the stories are, and I write down the name of the story and then I start reading. And so there's none that I skip. I read them all through. And I just kind of take note of how it's making me feel, the writing style, the creativity, the uniqueness, the flow. Um, if the punctuation isn't perfect, but the storytelling is excellent, I kind of will overlook a little bit of punctuation. Um, and so then I take notes, because when you read a lot of different stories, you really have to take notes, and so you can remember, not mix them up. And all of the stories are so unique. But here's a really cool thing. Oddly, authors, writers who are totally separate individuals will write on the same theme. And there were some similar themes last time around, and this time it's just bizarre. It like is something in the universe that's inspiring writers to write separately about the same themes. It's wild.
It's
So
amazing.
I love the creativity and the twists and the turns and it's like some of the stories are grim, some of them are hilarious and making me laugh. Some of them are really like arousing, the way the writer's able to. And arousing does not mean just naming the titillating body parts at all. That's boring. Arousing is like in the mind. It's like when the two people come together and, there's all this energy and it's deeper. So when the writer can create a depth of connection, that's not just, oh, you're hot, she's hot, boom, let's get together. No, that's not, well, that works sometimes, but but that's not the key to excellent erotic storytelling to me, is that there's some connection, there's some conflict, there's some kind of, you know, um, like ascent into this sort of climax. And so it's just really fun and I love it. I commend all the writers who are writing short stories and erotica, because erotica, I think, also gets misconstrued in that it's not just, graphic. Well, there's people out there who use the word smut. That does so not apply here. The people who submit to us, their writing is top notch, excellent writing quality, very, very good storytelling skills, um, integrity, So even those that push the line a little bit in terms of what's traditional, um, done very tastefully. So yeah, it's erotica just simply means arousing the senses, and especially dealing with love and the physical manifestations of it.
And so when are the winners going to be announced for
This
the
week.
erotica contest?
this week.
Excellent. So
Mhm.
when we had our first erotica writing short story contest, Elizabeth wrote a blog post on our website about, it was called "And the Erotica Short Story Winner Is," and then she wrote about the process and how much fun it was to read them, and just basically what she just said, like they're so creative and so well written, and judging them is really fun. And that is our, Elizabeth just interviewed
Joanne
Joanne,
DeMary Kennedy.
and
Mhm.
her short story, My Mother's Rosary, is the most read short story on our website.
Which is not
Our,
erotica.
which is not erotica for sure, but our most popular blog post of all of our blog posts is that one, and the erotica short story winner is ... So it's fascinating to look at what is, and I don't know, my first thought when that month after month kept popping to the top of our analytics was, well, maybe people are reading this because they want to learn what makes a good winning short story. That was my thought, because you interviewed Wendy Goodman a couple of weeks ago on Writer
Yeah.
Talks, and
Uh-huh.
you and Wendy had a really good conversation, and she was saying that some of the places that call for erotica aren't so much into proper grammar and punctuation.
Quality writing, yeah.
Quality writing.
Mhm.
So I wonder if our submitters look at the quality of writing on our website for all of our, I want to say we're at over 100 short stories on our website.
Oh, wow, there's a lot. Honestly, I wanted to say that all the submissions were winners. And I honestly, they're so good. It's really difficult to select a winner, especially when the stories are such different themes, and it's really so again, I consider everybody a winner. And actually, Joanne and I were just talking about the definition of success for a writer. Some people define it by how much money you make or where you are on a bestseller or list or not, how many copies you've sold. I consider anybody who's writing daily is winning. Anybody who wrote a book is winning. Anybody who wrote a short story and had the guts to submit it to a contest is winning. So it's all about perspective. And we all need to give ourselves more credit for our accomplishments.
Do you have the second anthology handy? Can you go to the dedication page, please?
I just love the way this looks. Dedication. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me?
To all the writers who hit submit.
Submit. What? That is so cool. To all the writers who hit submit. Really? That is awesome. And look how thick it is. Like, we had a bunch of winners. And we've talked about in other shows this year that our contests are all about diverse voices. So we've expanded the scope of what we're publishing now for next year, right? Right, pal?
Right. So I'm so glad that there were so many good erotica short story winners, because all the winning stories that are not selected as the winning stories, all those authors have the ability to submit to our erotica anthology this year, because we're going to do a just erotica anthology this year. So that's super exciting. And then the other one is our it's we're not doing just regular short stories this year. We're doing themed diverse stories. So this month is Black History Month. So this month we're calling for stories from African American writers. Last month we had older adults over 60, and we're repeating that one for July. So if you're a writer over 60 and you didn't make the January 31st deadline, don't worry. We've got one open for July.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to African American voices this month, we have every month this year we're having the check no boxes,
Mm-hmm.
meaning if you don't fit into the category that we're holding a contest for, you can create your own category. It's an open category, meaning
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to fit into any boxes. And we also have LGBTQ coming up. All these are all they're all open all year. So if you have a story, please share. And if you have a writing club, and just everybody could submit.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing that you and Joanne talked about, was having a writing community for support and encouragement.
Right. So she emphasized the fact that her critique group in New Jersey was instrumental in her polishing her short story that won, My Mother's Rosary, and her other writing as well. So, some people live by their critique groups. When I was in Romance Writers of America many years ago, our local chapter had critique groups, and people would share their work with each other every week. And whether you're writing a short story or writing a novel, um, critique groups can provide you with feedback as long as you're in a critique group that your work is safe and that they have integrity in their constructive criticism for you as opposed to hateration.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a master's from the University of San Francisco, and when my master's program, which I think it had 33 people, when it ended, a number of us stayed together and continued to share our work. There were a lot of us who were short story writers, and we continued to share our work. It
Mm-hmm.
was great.
That's great. Having a supportive network of writers that you can, first of all, the writer's mindset and lifestyle is so unique. Like a lot of us are really relish our solitude. And Joanne and I were talking about how the the pandemic has allowed us to write more, and she knows people who have finished novels, she said on the show. And it's like this time is hopefully, I said, a once in a lifetime experience. And it's also the act of writing is a retreat, an escape from the scary headlines and all the grimness that's going on with the grief and death and fear of, contagion. So writing is an awesome exercise to just shut out the world and immerse in your imagination and go wild with that. That's a very fun place to be in your imagination.
Yeah. And if you don't want to be in a critique group, you can do something like join the Two Sisters Writing Club, where it's more for accountability, where we have a time and a place where writers show up and commit to their writing, and at the
Mhm.
very least, very least, get an hour of writing done each week, because
Mhm.
they've planned for it and they show up for it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, and we have it tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific.
So if you're curious about our contest, or you want to read Joanne's winning short story, My Mother's Rosary, or join our writing club, our website is twosisterswriting.com,
Mhm.
TWO sisterswriting.com.
Mhm. Mhm. So I just love Catherine's creation of our short story contest. And we had a Zoom party a few weeks ago to celebrate our 5-year anniversary of our company. And we talked a lot about how she came up with this idea that she just shared. And all the writers just are so grateful that there's a place that supports and celebrates their writing, and that's us. And we love doing that. We love to celebrate, support, and showcase other writers. And we're about to publish book number 28 Linda Lockhart, Life Along the Applegate Trail, A Tale of Grit and Determination. If you've heard of the Oregon Trail in the mid 1800s, when people were moving west to settle on the land there, that was inhabited by Native Americans, but when European Americans started moving west and settling on the land, they took the Oregon Trail, and that was very dangerous. So the Applegate brothers took the Applegate Trail, and a year later, a group of that was 1846. So Linda, to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the Applegate Trail, she followed on a wagon train. She rode on the trail. They did a 51-day reenactment, and she was on it for 31 of those days on a real wagon train. Like the ruggedness, the scariness of it, the elements, it was very, very difficult for the people back in the 1800s. And so she wrote a novel, Life Along the Applegate Trail, and it's got romance and humor and all kinds of wonderful stuff in it to balance the grim reality that they were literally risking their lives. There were wild bears and cougars and elements and not enough food, and it was a treacherous journey, and people died along the way. But she did a beautiful job of telling the story. So that's coming out on March 8th, International Women's Day. So the point is that we love to help writers give birth to books. And she wrote her book herself, and we're publishing it. So we've got several authors with books in various stages of production. And so that's just what we love to do. And we're very grateful for all of your support to submit, write, read our books, buy our books. And so thank you for that. And please keep submitting to our short story contest, with especially since this year we've opened it up to all these new categories. It's really, really
they're nonfiction. Nonfiction.
Yes, they're nonfiction. That's
yeah. But if you have a short story, you can submit it too.
pretty much anything goes, right?
Goes. Just between 400 and 4,000 words. That's it.
Which is a huge range.
Totally.
A huge range. So awesome. Is there anything else, Catherine?
That's all for tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, excellent. It's so fun. We love, that's why we have laughing fits sometimes, because we love what we do. We have so much fun, even in moments of extreme stress. Like once we were making an index and we were on a deadline, and it was the middle of the night, and we just started laughing hysterically as like a stress release, I guess. And, you have to have fun and enjoy your life and enjoy what you do, because we both work so hard, 7 days a week, weekends, we pack it all in, and we really, really love it. And we love that you are there to read what we create or to submit to what we publish. So thank you for watching 10,000 Things. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins.
And I'm Catherine Greenspan.
And we are two sisters writing and publishing. We are so grateful for all of your support, and please do like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell so you'll know every time we go live or upload a new video. Please do subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out, and it helps more people become aware of all the content that we're offering to share the expertise and experience that we've gathered over 5 years in business and publishing dozens of books, some of which we wrote, some of which we simply published for other people who wrote them. So with that, we want to wish you good night, happy reading,